Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about hospitals and doctors and sort of my experience within them. So, a while ago, it was Boxing Day, I think it was, I woke up with some really stabbing pains in my side. So, my son and my daughter, they drove me to hospital. And when I arrived, I was looking around for the interpreter, but I couldn't see anyone. And I was waiting for ages and still no one turned up that could have helped me. When staff kept coming out as well at the end of the corridor, they were shouting my name, but how was I supposed to know that that was my name being called? So they must have thought I was stupid, really, because I kept running over to them, asking them to clarify, but I was in pain as well, so it really wasn't convenient. So when I eventually went in, they explained to me that they couldn't get an interpreter as it was Boxing Day, so I'd have to stay in hospital overnight. So the next day, another member of staff comes, and they say that again they couldn't get hold of an interpreter due to the fact it's the Christmas period. So they began all these tests, and I was having people prodding at me, injecting me with things. I went into an MRI scanner as well, and I felt really stressed. There was no interpreter there, so there I was completely on my own, feeling absolutely terrified. But it's something that had to be done. But I was also having a lot of injections at the time, and I felt very uneasy as to what these injections actually were, what was being put into my body. At one point, a female interpreter actually contacted my son and said, unfortunately I've been drinking, so I won't be able to drive and see your mother. And I couldn't help but feel, why couldn't she get a taxi? This is something she should have thought about. A different experience, my daughter actually gave birth last year. So that makes me a grandma. So my daughter texted me, and of course I rushed to the hospital in Derby. When I arrived, I could see that there was no way to access the building without using an internal tannoy system. But of course I'm deaf, so how am I supposed to hear the response that's being said over the speaker? So, I understand it's for safety and it's a security measure, but, it was very frustrating. So eventually I got into the building and saw my daughter, and I got to look after my grandchild while she had a little sleep. And at the end of that, we went upstairs back into the ward. So I stayed until about 9, half 9, and really I thought it's best I go home. So I went back downstairs, tried to get out the door, and of course it's locked. So I'm there trying to tug at the door, trying to make my way out. There were no staff anywhere that could let me out, so eventually I ended up shouting until someone eventually came over to me. Of course, as they ran over, they were there speaking. I had to let them, I'm deaf. So they scanned me out, and off I went. It is difficult being deaf when something like that happens. Similarly, in the car park, I got into my car, tried to leave, and it was the same problem. I was trying to access the tannoy system, but I couldn't hear anyone. So I had to park up my car again, go back in, let the staff know, come back out, and that was the slow process of it. The new hospital in Derby do actually have a new system, which is if you have a problem, they've got a text number underneath. So you can wait for someone, someone will come and let you out of the car park. But, it's still difficult, it's not ideal. I've also been to the doctor myself before. I got a taxi there, but when I arrived there wasn't any interpreter. So I ended up writing brief notes to my doctor, but that's all they were, just brief. So they'd explained that I needed medication, but I felt like I didn't have enough information. So I'd go to the chemist, they'd give them my prescription, they'd give me the pills, but I just didn't understand, how long did I have to take these pills for? And after taking them, I still didn't feel any better, so I went back to the doctors where they told me I had gallstones. But yet again, they didn't give me any information into the medication and the treatment I'd need following that. So I think really, being deaf does present a lot of issues when it comes to medical situations. I think if a deaf person only needs like a blood test, for example, they don't necessarily need an interpreter, but I think it's safe to say 100% of the time, deaf people do need an interpreter. I know that sometimes hospitals and medical providers, they do have sort of a screen where you can sign into the screen and an interpreter's there and they can translate it to the doctor. But I've been to the hospital before and asked where that's been. I've seen a doctor's locked it in the cupboard. So, when I've asked where exactly is this screen, they said, oh, we've locked it in the cupboard. So, it's really useful. Why on earth do they lock it? And of course, their response was, well, deaf people never come in, deaf people never use it. But they must. So personally, I feel technology and interpreters aren't used